Hello, and welcome back to Film Strips. In this episode, we're delving into a science fiction horror movie titled Splice. Be prepared for spoilers. Clive Nicoli and Elsa Cast are two gifted scientists specializing in genetic engineering. They work for a company named Newstead, which conducts a variety of experiments focused on combining the DNA of different animals to create novel life forms for medical purposes. After numerous unsuccessful trials, Clive and Elsa achieve a breakthrough. Observing their creations with a mix of wonder and intrigue, they decide to name the pair of unusual creatures Fred and Ginger. These beings were intended to yield medicinal proteins beneficial for livestock. Fascinated by the extraordinary outcomes and potential of their experiment, Clive and Elsa speculate that the splicing technique used to create Fred and Ginger could also be applied to human DNA. They believe that if executed properly, this method might be a groundbreaking treatment for various incurable illnesses, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. However, their proposal is met with disapproval from their superiors, Joan Court and William Barlow at Newstead. Concerned about the possibility of negative media attention, they strictly prohibit any form of human experimentation. Undeterred, Clive and Elsa embark on their clandestine project. After several failed attempts, they finally achieve a milestone by successfully splicing human and animal DNA. Thrilled with this scientific breakthrough, Elsa moves forward with the process of developing their creation, taking the genetic material to the birthing room. Clive initially resists the idea, wary of the ethical and practical implications. Nonetheless, Elsa's determination to pursue this potential solution to numerous diseases persuades him. She assures Clive that they'll terminate the creature before it fully develops, ensuring their experiment remains a secret. Reluctantly, Clive activates the equipment, initiating the conception sequence. In a later scene, Clive engages in conversation with a colleague. The colleague is curious about the project Clive and Elsa are working on, but Clive skillfully evades revealing any details. Simultaneously, Elsa is seen meticulously monitoring the incubator in the lab. Elsa's concern spikes when the heartbeat of their creation momentarily ceases, but she is soon relieved as it resumes. After their day's work, Clive and Elsa relax in their apartment, discussing the possibility of moving to a more spacious place. Their conversation naturally progresses to the topic of having children, a subject that seems to make Elsa noticeably uncomfortable. Their discussion is abruptly cut short by an alert from Clive's phone, prompting them to hurry back to the lab. To their surprise, they discover that the fetus, which was supposed to develop for several more months, is already prepared for birth. Clive and Elsa's frantic efforts to fix the machine and prevent the premature birth of the creature prove futile, and Elsa sustains a hand injury in the process. After the creature is born, Clive quickly acts to contain it under a plastic cover, preventing it from causing further harm. He then rushes to aid Elsa, who is in a state of convulsion and losing consciousness, likely due to an infection from the creature's toxic substance. Administering a dose of medicine to Elsa stabilizes her condition, and they both retreat to their apartment. The ordeal of the birth leaves both Clive and Elsa deeply disturbed, with Clive adamant that they should destroy their creation. Elsa, however, argues that there is still valuable knowledge to be gained from their experiment. Despite Clive's insistence on ending the creature's life, Elsa's perspective gives him pause. Determined, they return to the lab with the intention of terminating the creature. To their shock, they find what seems to be its lifeless body in the incubator. Yet, upon closer inspection, Elsa realizes that while there is dead tissue present, the complete body of the creature is nowhere to be found. Almost immediately after their discovery, Elsa hears the sound of small, rapid footsteps approaching her. She encounters a small, chicken-like creature that quickly imprints on her. Elsa and Clive manage to subdue the creature, allowing them to conduct studies on it. They are surprised to find that it has the ability to produce venom, a trait that wasn't anticipated given the absence of predatory genes in its DNA. As time progresses, it becomes apparent that the creature is aging at an accelerated rate, a consequence of its flawed DNA. That night, Clive has a meeting with Barlow, who expresses concern about the financial viability of Newstead. Barlow stresses that the success of their project with Fred and Ginger, specifically in selling their medicinal proteins, is crucial. Otherwise, the company faces significant trouble, with Clive and Elsa bearing the responsibility. A month goes by, and the creature has grown substantially in size. It exhibits behaviors and intelligence akin to that of a human toddler. Elsa develops a strong attachment to the creature, treating it more like a child than a mere scientific subject, which causes concern for Clive. Her attachment leads her to take significant steps, like allowing the creature out of its containment and removing the cover from its stinger. Elsa, inspired by the creature's ability to spell nerd using toys after seeing the company's name on her shirt, decides to name the creature Dren, which is nerd spelled backwards. However, Elsa's nurturing behavior towards Dren becomes a point of contention between her and Clive. They realize their experiment risks exposure due to upcoming lab renovations, which could lead someone to discover their unauthorized project. This situation escalates when Gavin, a colleague of Clive's in the lab, tries to eavesdrop on their conversation but unexpectedly encounters Dren. Shocked and frightened by the sight of Dren, Gavin hastily leaves the area. In an attempt to keep Dren hidden, Clive and Elsa resolve to secretly move her in a cardboard box to a secluded storage space, ensuring she remains out of sight. However, they soon face another challenge as Dren develops a high fever, causing Elsa great concern. To alleviate Dren's condition, they place her in a bath of cold water. During this process, Clive discovers that Dren has developed amphibious lungs, a revelation that further complicates their understanding of the creature's rapidly evolving physiology. Elsa dedicates her night to caring for Dren, giving her a Barbie doll reminiscent of Elsa's childhood when she had to conceal the toy from her mother. Over time, Dren undergoes considerable growth and development, acquiring a more human-like, feminine form. Unbeknownst to Elsa and Clive, as they become intimate on the couch, Dren silently observes them from an adjacent room. The following day, Clive and Elsa are set to publicly showcase their original hybrid creations, Fred and Ginger. However, the event takes a catastrophic turn when the creatures unexpectedly become aggressive and engage in a fatal altercation. Upon closer investigation, Clive and Elsa discover that Ginger, surprisingly, had transitioned into a male, leaving the cause of this transformation a mystery. In light of recent events, Elsa and Clive make the decision to relocate Dren to an old farmhouse that was once owned by Elsa's mother. Upon their arrival at the farm, Dren, driven by hunger, dashes off in search of food. Elsa and Clive, after arranging Dren's living space in the barn, head to the farmhouse. The scene they encounter inside, a room with only a bed, a chair, and a bucket, starkly suggests that Elsa experienced an abusive childhood. Meanwhile, Dren is visibly dissatisfied with her new life on the farm. Isolated with only a cat for company and her creators frequently absent due to work, Dren starts to show signs of rebellion. Clive seems to handle this change better than Elsa, who is deeply troubled by Dren's behavior. In an effort to manage the situation and bond with Dren, Elsa decides to spend more time at the farmhouse. She indulges Dren with makeup and jewelry, items that were strictly prohibited by Elsa's mother during her own childhood. This gesture is an attempt to provide Dren with the freedom and happiness Elsa lacked as a child. Elsa's discovery of multiple drawings of Clive, but none of her, on the makeup table unsettles her. Dren, sensing Elsa's discomfort, becomes anxious and retreats to her cat. When Elsa takes the cat away, explaining to Dren that not getting everything one wants is part of growing up, it leaves Dren feeling more isolated. Upon his return, Clive finds a despondent Dren. To lift her spirits, he plays some music and engages her in a dance, an act of kindness aimed at comforting and connecting with Dren in her time of distress. While dancing with Dren, Clive unexpectedly experiences prohibited emotions towards her. This leads him to a shocking realization: Elsa incorporated her own DNA in the creation of Dren. Confronted with this discovery, Clive approaches Elsa, leading to a heated argument that results in Clive leaving the scene. Left alone with Dren, Elsa decides to return the cat she had earlier taken away. However, Dren's response is violent. She kills the cat, prompting Elsa to react by slapping her across the face. In a swift move, Dren attacks Elsa, attempting to steal the barn keys to escape. Elsa manages to subdue her, restraining Dren on an operating table. As Elsa removes Dren's jewelry and clothing, she observes Dren's aggressive behavior and makes the decision to remove her stinger for safety. Upon Clive's return, Elsa takes the stinger back to the lab, intending to analyze its proteins for potential use in their research. The following day, Clive visits the farm, intending to find Elsa. Instead, he encounters Dren, who aggressively attempts to seduce him. Despite initially resisting, Clive ultimately gives in to Dren's seduction and they engage in a sexual encounter. During this intimate moment, it becomes evident that Dren has regenerated the stinger that Elsa had previously amputated. The situation takes a disturbing turn when Elsa unexpectedly walks in on Clive and Dren together. Horrified and repulsed, Elsa flees the scene. Clive, equally shaken, follows her and the two of them escape to their old apartment. There, they engage in a tense discussion about Elsa's intentions with Dren. It's revealed that Elsa's desire to create a child through unconventional means stemmed from a deep-rooted need to exert control, likely a repercussion of her traumatic childhood. After resolving their argument, Clive and Elsa return to the farmhouse where they are confronted with the seemingly lifeless body of Dren. Believing her to be dead, they proceed to bury her and destroy her belongings. While clearing out Dren's possessions, Elsa discovers the drawings Dren made of her, a poignant reminder of their complex relationship. This moment of reflection is interrupted by the arrival of Gavin and Barlow, who have uncovered the truth about Clive and Elsa's clandestine project. As they are about to confront the scientists, Dren reappears, having undergone a startling transformation into a more masculine form, mirroring the earlier gender shift of Ginger. Now overly hostile, Dren attacks, resulting in the deaths of Barlow and Gavin. The creature then turns its aggression towards Clive, escalating the chaos and danger of the situation. In a dramatic turn of events, Elsa attempts to flee from Dren into the woods, but Dren quickly overtakes her. Dren overpowers Elsa, pinning her to the ground and attempting to force himself upon her. However, Clive intervenes, impaling Dren with a branch. Despite this, Dren launches an attack on Clive, leading Elsa to take drastic action by striking Dren's head with a rock, ultimately ending Dren's life. In the aftermath, Elsa continues her employment with Newstead and is given the green light to further her research on the proteins found in Dren's body. A significant revelation unfolds when it's noticed that Elsa is pregnant, implying that she might be carrying Dren's child. For more explorations into thrilling narratives like this one, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Thank you for tuning in.